What's going on, people? Thank you for checking out another edition of Morton's Law Podcast here on YouTube. I am back. That means I'm not dead. So some people say that's good news. I don't know. However you want to take that, go with it. I haven't been completely out of the loop. For those who aren't aware, go check out Saturday afternoon's main event every Saturday on YouTube. Also, I made a recent appearance there. So, yeah, me being back means I have somewhat been able to control my deep depression that holds me back in life sometimes. People who deal with that will understand how tough life can be and how it can bring you down to where you just feel crippled. So, while I'm not in paralysis mode, I figure, hey, I'll make a video today. Why not, right? So, again, thank you for checking it out. Let's get right into what is going on in the world of wrestling, specifically Monday Night Raw. And what a Raw it was. It was one of the better Raws we've witnessed in a while. And coming off of that specifically, because we talked about that on Saturday afternoon's main event last Saturday, was how Raw has been a tough chore to watch. The 3 hours, it's been really boring, and it needed a shot in the arm. And this week was the epitome of that, something it's been needing for a while. And it started out with Rollins coming back. Seth Rollins appears, the crowd sing along, everybody loves to sing, as he referenced, which was funny. In fact, there was a point where they were singing so long, I was waiting for it. I'm like, are they not going to do it? Do they really just care about the song, or are they going to chant and then Welcome Back finally came in? I was like, come on, show me you care about the guy, not the song. But they redeemed themselves, and they were happy to see Seth, not just the song. So out comes Priest. The thing with Priest is, and I talked about this last week on the show again, that he is too chill on the mic, if that makes sense. It's just, okay, it's one thing to yell all the time, and some guys are guilty of yelling, and it just doesn't end. I've talked about other people like MJF sometimes will just yell at me. I don't need that all the time. But Priest sometimes gets too monotone, where it sounds like he doesn't, not the word care, but he's just too not into the segment. And I need him to be a little bit more into the segment than he appears. Because let's be honest, he never gets emotional or angry. And I feel like the champion, and especially more importantly, a heel champion. Because now we had heard stuff that Priest was going to eventually break apart from Judgment Day and become the babyface. And that may still be in the works. I don't know. It could be a long-term storytelling reward, if you will. But right now, he does nothing that would make you think he's a heel. Very little. I mean, they cheat for him. He doesn't want them to cheat for him. And he's always relaxed. He's just, hey, take care of this. Take care of that. Everything's good. And it's just like, what? And then to further the point, he even challenged Seth. What heel makes challenges? They normally want to avoid, especially a heel champion, they want to avoid defending their title at all costs. They want the babyface to have to go through leaps and bounds to get to that point. And he just came out and said, no, you don't have to enter into Money in the Bank. You're going to wrestle me for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that was that. And that's great. That's great if you're a babyface. But it lost me a little bit there in that moment. I mean, the match will be good. I don't know where they're going with that. I mean, we'll see what they want to do with Seth long term there. But good to have him back. Moving along, the second part of Raw that really blew everybody's mind was Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, as we witnessed at Clash at the Castle, was screwed once again by CM Punk. And it was great the way it was done. Just amazing. In fact, when they went back and they showed how Punk was able to get the referee shirt from the other referee and him going out there to do that. And what was cool to me is that when Punk got on camera, there's a fan in his face with two middle fingers, like aggressively, like, Arr! When they counted 1, 2, 3, the next shot of Punk was with like 2 or 3 CM Punk fans that they found in the crowd just so he looked like a baby face, which was funny. So they covered that really quickly. And so McIntyre, miserable, right? You can't be any more miserable than he is. I've read online people comparing him to Bret Hart. Like he's the modern day Bret Hart of how miserable he is about getting screwed over by Punk. So my question is, he comes out, right, and he quits. He just flat out quits. He couldn't even get words out. he did it really well, by the way. It was well done, and how he made it looked like he was so disgusted with everything that he couldn't even form a sentence. And he's just like, ah. And then the fans are chanting CM Punk, which made it even better. And he just goes, I quit. And he leaves. And then they did it really well by having Pierce walking him back and trying to convince him that's not the right decision, to think it over and all this other stuff. And it got me thinking, I'm like, wow, they have this working relationship with TNA. And for those under a rock, at one point, Drew did work under TNA as Drew Galloway. And, he wanted to save wrestling. He's like, I'll never forget that. That was great. We used to make fun of that. And so I was thinking, why not Drew go back to TNA? And it would be even better if somehow he ends up seeking advice from broken Matt Hardy. I mean, think about that for a second. If he actually goes and Matt Hardy's trying to help him get over his CM Punk dilemma. And what if he takes residence at the Hardy compound? So now Drew is broken and he's living at the Hardy compound. And now it's interesting because, all right, while they have a working relationship, they've never really shown video per se of TNA. So this is where it gets tricky, is if you do all this video and put it on TNA, we know their audience is very minimal at best. Now, I don't know what kind of ratings having Drew on the show would bring them. I don't know what kind of bump it would be. Is it worth it trying it? Again, probably not. But then the biggest catch would be, and I think this would probably more have to be on Raw, SmackDown, probably obviously Raw, they're both on Raw, would be if Drew had to go to see a therapist and he's on the couch and he can't really detect, he can't, there's like a camera angle where he doesn't see who the therapist is. He's just talking to somebody random, kind of like when you make a confession to the priest, you don't see the priest. And out of nowhere, he looks over and it's Punk in disguise as a therapist listening to his story, and he just starts attacking him. It would be like a la with McMahon and Austin in the hospital bed, and he just starts beating him with the bedpan. That was an amazing video. This would be great too, because it's been almost 30 years since we've seen that. So it'd be something different. But again, it would have to probably be on Raw, not TNA, unless out of nowhere TNA just started drawing numbers. We'll see. I doubt it. But the question I have here is this storyline, what if it's only to benefit Punk? Or is that the case? Now, internet reports have suggested that McIntyre at one point actually did want to quit. Now, I don't know if that was just frustration with booking or overall. I mean, it sounds like it could have been. I mean, so what does he get out of the storyline? And could the storyline play up to real life here? Because if he's really sad or emotional, like the way Cody was when Cody learned, hey, I might not be the main event at WrestleMania because The Rock is going to take my spot. And Cody wore his heart on his sleeve in that segment where you couldn't get any words out of him because he was legitimately sad by what had happened. What if this legitimately does break Drew? Then he knows the end of the storyline, I'm losing to Punk. And is there a light at the end of the tunnel? What happens next for me? I don't know. So, I mean, legit emotions can come into this. And now I don't even want to suggest that there's still heat between Drew and Punk. I mean, professionally, who knows? But real life, I don't know. But maybe Drew just doesn't feel appreciated. And let's be fair about Drew. This new Drew McIntyre being unscripted, he's been amazing on the mic. Top-notch work. I mean, his back and forths with Punk were great. I mean, he made Priest look mediocre on the mic in that exchange. And he used to be boring. He really used to be boring. But now it's like, wow, what is Drew going to say next kind of stuff? And it's fun to watch. So I hope there is a plan for him. I want to believe he re-signed his contract, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Apologize if I'm wrong. I'm not on the internet the way I once was. If a story pops up on my Google feed, I read it. So there it is with that. And the next segment, that was phenomenal. So well done. And it's becoming like must-see TV. Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker. Well, first it was Sami Zayn in the ring, and Bron Breakker comes out and he challenges him to the title, and he basically tells him, "I'm going to take your title," and the crowd starts to get behind him. And remember, Breaker's supposed to be a heel after decimating people the last couple of weeks, as he's done, and especially Ricochet. Of course, by the way, Samantha Irvin not there. They didn't ever said if it was because she was at home with Ricochet or if it was personal. Another reason she wasn't there, but she was not there. So then Sheamus comes out and he gets in the ring and he starts talking to Sammy about taking his title. And Bron Breakker bowed up. He was great in the segment. Bron Breakker was phenomenal. How he got in his face and he basically said, "I'm gonna be the champion and I'm gonna take you out and anyone else in my way." I'm paraphrasing, but that was more or less what he said, and that led to the match. And I mean, wow, this match was really hard hitting. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I know I may be in the minority here, which is fair. I've never been the biggest Sheamus guy. I've always felt he's been your typical cookie cutter WWE slow down match kind of guy, just basic moves, nothing extraordinary. And so, therefore, in my opinion, like I said, the same thing about The Miz. If you've never seen one of their matches, you haven't missed much. And you could disagree with that. That's fair. So, but Bron Breakker got the most out of Sheamus in this, and they were just beating the hell out of each other. You know, you had that one slip up, which the fans kind of, you know, as I've noticed, you watch Raw nowadays, like the fans are starting to chant more and more stuff that make you believe there's a lot more diehards, and the casuals are limit. You know, there's not a lot of casuals because you're getting those chants like the "you effed up" and all the other chants that you hear, especially at the PLEs now. So, but they didn't get on them about the slip up. I don't know what's going on with WWE ropes, if it's rope related or, you know, obviously Cole and McAfee covered well for that slippage and saying, you know, whatever they can say to make it look like it wasn't terrible and whatever. I mean, it happens. Listen, I've always saying, and I talk about Botchamania sometimes. Botchamania is funny. It's really funny for those that you see are not trained properly. Those who are out there at the independent shows who can't do anything right and they're going to botch everything. That's funny, as long as they're not getting hurt, of course. But in this setting, when two professionals like Sheamus and Breakker have a slip up, it shouldn't define their career. You know what I mean? It's part of the action, and that happens occasionally. They're not guys that are notoriously screw ups in the ring. And that's why they let it go a little bit. They got on Jade a lot more for hers, but then as you read online, people suggesting that those ropes were too tight and slippery, however you want to put it. It's not, it is what it is, but I don't go crazy about stuff like that. So the match, so well done. You get the interference coming in from Ludwig Kaiser. He comes in, attacks Sheamus's leg. That goes on. And what was the spot? Oh, what a spot this was. Kaiser sets up Sheamus on the steps, and he goes over to where Breakker is. And now Kaiser is going to get a running start to, I guess, knee or drop kick Sheamus's knee or leg into the steps. As he's running one way, Breakker comes the other way. And for whatever reason, I guess we'll find this out in weeks to come, Breakker just spears the hell out of Kaiser. Like, just leaves, like, he took his body and his soul and put it right through the ground almost. That was an incredible moment. I mean, just wow. At this moment right now, you can say that every Bron Breakker segment is must see. It's that good. It's really that good. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. Again, now you hear the barking going on. The fans are starting to cheer. And again, going back to what I said initially with the casual versus the diehard, they know he's Rick's son. They know he's a Steiner. And the barking is coming. Does that hurt any kind of a heel run he may have with the fan support? Or is he going to be a tweener, which is always an option? And you got to love that right now with what he's doing, people getting behind him and you know, not just like he looks legit. That's the thing with him. He looks legit. He gets in the ring. He doesn't say many words. He gets his point across. Looks like a badass. That is what wrestling needs. We need people to play and look the part. He looks the part. Like, he looks like he's gonna destroy you in a second. And that's a good thing for the business. So I'm looking forward to what they do going forward. How they explain the Kaiser. Does that lead to him and, of course, Gunther down the road, which still people talk about how they potentially ruin that by putting the belt on Sammy, which, you know, that's another story about Sammy having the title, because if we talk about transitional champions, Sammy is just that. I know he didn't, you know, Gable didn't win, but he's not holding that title long. And the last thing to talk about here is, I mean, wow, just wow. As you know, we've been getting the QR codes every week, the TV, you know, the blinking and all the other stuff, the flashes, the black lights, you name it, anything that would represent what we thought of with the Wyatt family, and out they come. Out first comes what everyone will believe will be Sister Abigail, and then we get the backstage look. and there's carnage and gorilla. People are laid out. You see Chad Gable bleeding everyone. Then more and more people come into the picture of the group and how well cast this group is. By the way, let's talk about this. You got Loomis, Gacy, Cross, Rowan, and of course Bo Dallas playing the role of Uncle Howdy. And it was perfectly done. The crowd got behind this. You could hear them. They were oohing and ahhing and just reacting to any little thing. I mean, look, we talked about the ratings last week and how much of a dump it had taken. And this got a bump. This show had a bump. And we knew they were previewed. I mean, people knew they were going to be on the show. And what they're called is the Wyatt Sicks. So that's the name of the group for now. I don't know if that will change, but that's what's being reported. And the boost Raw needed, storyline wise, is right here. And I hope it continues to be as good as it looked in night one. And with the ratings going up, even against the NBA Finals, which is key, the ratings went up against the NBA Finals. And now next week, coming off of this segment, you can only imagine more eyeballs will be on the set, especially now with the NBA Finals over. And that is a shot in the arm that this product and show needs. So, I mean, like I said earlier, it's been tough to watch, but hopefully things pick up going forward, and everyone should be excited to see. I mean, look, there's curiosity now to see what they're gonna do. What will the Wyatt Sicks do? So I want to thank everybody for checking out this edition, the special hit of Morton's Law Podcast. Don't forget to check out past episodes on YouTube and the actual podcast itself on every audio platform, Apple, you name it, it's on there. I'm going to be coming back with new episodes. As of now, I am motivated and not miserable and depressed, so I'm here for this moment. Live with it. And again, continue to support the show. Again, Saturday afternoon's main event. Should be back on that this coming Saturday. Check out that show as well, please. And thank you again, guys. Take care and God bless gay sex.